We all watch golf on TV and we always think, gee, those tour players, they're so good. I wish I could do things like them. Well, there's every reason you're not going to be as good as them. However, in this video, I'm going to show you 5 areas that tour players are much better than you, but you can work on them and be just as good as them. These do not involve swing changes at all. They're just 5 things tour players do better than average golfers that average golfers should do better. And stay tuned right to the end, because I'm also going to throw in a bonus tip. So another thing that tour players do that the average golfer doesn't do but should do is when they're playing a chip shot, tour players focus on their landing spot intensely. So I've got a downhill chip here of about 20 yards or so. I'm going to land the ball on the green. So I've got a coin that I've just put on the green, just there. So I'm trying to land the ball somewhere between the coin and that little bit of bare earth. So I'm choosing a 9-iron. So I'm establishing that if I can land the ball somewhere in that area, the ball is going to roll down the hill, slopes a little bit left to right, and that's going to put me in the best position to hit this close. The average golfer picks their spot, picks their club, they take a couple of practice swings, and then they set up over the ball, and then they look at the flag stick. And the moment you look at the flag stick is your focus. You're probably going to hit the ball beyond what you want your landing area to be. That's going to make the ball roll too far, and you're going to end up with a first putt of way too much length. So, tour players have the discipline to choose their club, think about their landing area. Sure, look at the flag stick at that point. That's the ideal place to look at the flag stick. But once you've chosen your landing area in your club, focus intently on the landing area. So I'll take a couple of practice swings here, and I just stare at my landing area, get a good picture in my mind of where I want it to be. Landed it spot onto my landing area, and you can see the ball rolling. It's starting to break, and that ball's rolled up to about 2 feet from the hole. Did I hit a perfect chip? No, but it's a decent shot. So by focusing on your landing area, you are going to save some shots, because you're going to hit your chips closer to the hole. It's going to lower your score. So another area you can lower your score is when you get on the green, try and look at the green from 2 different angles. So you'll notice golf pros all the time going on the green, and they don't just stand behind the ball, they will actually look from behind, certainly, but they will also look from another angle on the green. This gives you a really good perspective. So it's not uncommon to see them walking around, almost stalking. Now, it's important to note that when you do that, you're going to get a much better and a different view than what you get just from standing behind on one level. So you don't want to wait your turn until you start doing this. That would make you a slow player. But in this video here, you can see that I'm looking from below the hole. I'm standing above the hole now. And I can certainly see that this is quite a steep slope that I'm faced with. So just as if you leave your buggy at the back of the green, you can then walk around on the green. People won't even know what you're doing. You're just looking generally at the slope and making your way to the ball. It's amazing what you can pick up just by doing that. So here I've got a putt of about 25 feet, and I know that due to my preliminary work, there is a fair slope. So I'm going to aim this about 4 feet left of the hole, and we're just going to trickle it down somewhere close to the hole. So the ball's turning, the speed is good, and you'd be very happy with that result. So another area where tour players are much better than the average amateur is They know the distance from the front of the green to the middle of the green to the back of the green and also to the flag. Now, with all these GPS and measuring devices that we have these days, there's no excuse for not knowing how far it is to the front, to the middle, to the back. And with that, you can make a much better and informed decision. They also know the difference between each club. So a lot of people think it's a 10-meter gap between clubs, but the reality is it's a lot closer to 8 meters or 8 yards, 8 paces between clubs. And if you start thinking in terms of 10, it's going to go out. So here we have me stepping it out. There's 8 paces. So it was a 9-iron to the front of the green. It's now an 8-iron to this location. I pace out another 8. It's now a 7-iron to this location. And then I pace another 8. Now it's a 6-iron. And even then, I'm still on the green. I've probably got another 3 or so paces of room, which is another half a club. So realistically, I could hit a 5-iron and still be okay. Now that's eight pace gaps. For the average golfer, it's probably closer to 7. So that would easily give us a 9-iron to the front, and then it would give us a 5-iron to the back of the green. So there's a lot more room there than what you think. And if you can start making better decisions with clubbing, I know you're going to have a better score. So, I've got a 30-foot putt. I need this to get a point. I've got to make sure I get it to the hole. Oh, geez, I was robbed. How many times do you think like that? So, that was actually not unlucky it didn't go in. That was really lucky that it finished that close, because if the flag wasn't in the hole, that would have almost gone off the green. So another area where tour players are much better than amateur players is they don't try and hole putts from 30 feet. Tour average from 30 feet is on the screen. Here's what the best putter in the world does as a percentage from 30 feet. And here is what the average tour player does from 30 feet. So it's highly unlikely they're going to get the ball in the hole. And they are not thinking, never up, never in. I've got to get it to the hole. They are thinking, I just want to get this close. So when a tour player is putting from here, they know that the formula to get the ball in the hole is to hit the ball at the right line at the right speed. And if you can do both of those things well, you will get the ball in the hole. But if you're thinking never up, never in, even if it's the right line, it's going to be the wrong speed and you won't be able to hole the putt. So believe me, they're thinking speed more than anything else. And it's amazing, when you get your speed right, it's incredible how many times you find the ball can just drop. So when you're standing over the 30-foot putt, don't think, gee, I have to get it up. Think, I have to get it close. So I'll take that putt any day of the week. I'm not going to 3-putt from there. Focus on your speed. Don't try and hole these long putts. You're going to lower your score. So another area where tour players are much better than amateurs is they know what their shot shape is, and they have the ability to start the ball on the right line for that shot shape. So a typical example is when I go out in the golf course and give playing lessons to my clients, a typical client might move the ball left to right 20 yards. And whether that's too much or not enough is a debate for another time. But they are very consistent. They always hit it 20 yards left to right. They think they're inconsistent. They're remarkably consistent. So knowing that they have a 20-yard left to right shot, guess where they aim? Straight down the middle of the fairway. If they aim straight down the middle of the fairway and they hit their stock 20-yard shot, guess where the ball's going to finish? In the trees on the right-hand side. If a tour player, someone like Daniel Berger, who does move the ball left to right an awful lot, at times he moves it 20 yards. He's not aiming down the middle of the fairway. So what I would suggest you do is you put an alignment stick down when you're practicing. If you want to, you can even put a line on the ball. And you can utilize the line on the ball there. And we're trying to point the line on the ball straight over the top of that stick. So I've got that stick aiming left center. So if we can get that ball starting along that line, even with a 20-yard left to right shot, it's giving you the chance of hitting it in the fairway. This doesn't require any change to the swing. It is a skill. It's a skill to be able to aim correctly, but it's not something that takes a lot of effort to achieve. You just got to practice it. So the ball starts down that line, faded a little bit, it's kicked to the right, I'm in the perfect position off the tee. So as I said, it doesn't matter what shape you have, you've got to think about your start line, and if you can start it on the right line for your shape, you're going to hit more fairways, have less penalty shots and sacrifice chip shots out, you're definitely going to lower your score. And for the bonus tip of how tour players are better than the average golfer is if the average golfer hits one shank, that is the end of the round. You know it's going to be a horrible round. So in last week's PGA Championship, Justin Thomas shanked in the final round. I think it was a 5-iron that he hit. He hit a pure shank. What happened? He won the tournament. And I think of the average golfers out on the course, the moment they hit one bad shot, even if it isn't a shank, it's almost like, that's it, it's the end, it's ruining my day. Justin Thomas hit a shank. Unbelievable shank. In the middle of a final round, he still went on and won the tournament. So these tour players are really good at letting go of the bad shot. And if you can let go of the bad shot, it will stop the damage that can cause for the rest of the round. Acknowledge, yeah, gee, that was bad, I hit a shank. I hit a terrible shot. But let's make sure that the next one, I'm going to hit the best shot I can. Don't stew over it. Feel like you've just taken that bad thought, scrunch it up, throw it away, and move on. And if you can start to do that sort of thing, you're definitely going to improve.